Hello, everyone. We are Girl Scouts Glory. Thank you so much for tuning in. We've been on a fun adventure with our DM, Rachel. Shout out to Wizards of the Coast, who is sponsoring the season. Yay, Wizards and D&D. We love you. And also Johannes Plenio at coolfreepix.com for some of the background images. So we'll all go around and introduce ourselves. I'm Kim Daugherty, and I play Daisy Gamwich, your changeling artificer.
I'm Erica Fermina, and I'm playing Leaf, your goblin druid.
Hi, I'm Alice Gretchen, and I'm playing Velada Nailo, your centaur bard.
I am Kelly Lynn D'Angelo, and I'm playing Jacques de Courgiance, the Furbolg cleric.
Hi, I'm Kellen Coleman, and I'm playing Rufus Rippard, the rock gnome wizard.
And I am Rachel Seeley, your human DM. Thank you to James RPG for my fantastic animated backgrounds. Thank you so much. I'm going to be using a bunch over the course of this episode. So if you want to see more, go to Patreon. I don't know. Go there. Go find him. Buy it. So who wants to give me a recap and maybe gain your recap advantage for this episode?
I'll do it.
All right.
I never do it, but today's the day.
Today's the day.
Way back, we all were dead and on the plains of penitence, and then we were risen. That's the name of this season, Risen. And now we are in the world, but we are in an icy world, and we all might be kind of undead, it would seem. And we've been tasked with destroying these spires, ice spires, which has to do with Oral, the like owl, evil owl woman that we are trying to take down. And so in the last episode, we were able to take down one of the spires. There are 5 spires total. And this woman, Tamzin, she was able to help us by giving her spear to Jacques, which we won by saving some of the stuff that these refugees were getting stolen. And that's basically where we're at. We just destroyed the ice spire, and we're gonna head back to town.
Nicely done. Yeah, you get your advantage. I'll let you have that. So you're all still standing in what's essentially the ruins of North Essen, and this gigantic cone of ice has been shattered and fallen like glass into the snow, sending this huge wave of snow falling all over you. And in the center of the village, Leaf had found a little shrine, which ended up being the tomb of your friend Levon. This is where he was laid to rest, presumably where he was from, as most people are laid to rest in their homes as well. You have the semi-rotting corpse of an undead frost giant, which you just defeated. And you're all very cold and exhausted after a hard fight.
Everybody, before I get out of this amount of snow, I just wanted to say, at least it wasn't just the tip, because the whole spear went in. It's the extension of the joke that I was, yes.
You know, I understand you, you know.
Jacques, is that your attempt at humor?
It's a version of it. It's do you like it? Do you like the joke?
You know, I can understand why it's funny, because you're saying just the tip, and it's rather raunchy, but I can appreciate it. That's all I'm
Thank
saying.
you. Is the spear actually still with me, or did it disintegrate or something when I... Oh, sweet.
Oh, no, you definitely still have it. It's still a solid metal spear sitting in your hands.
I'm picturing Jacques like in a small mountain of snow with just like the tip of the spear sticking out of it along with his head.
Just the tip.
Just the tip.
Man, I love this.
It's always the overly kind and gracious ones who have the raunchiest senses of humor.
I'll take it.
Unfortunately, I started him on that.
That much is true.
You are a trendsetter, Rufus.
Well, you know, is how I do. Anyway,
we should be heading back to the town.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to with my little hands, like start digging him out. He probably
Thank you. Yes, I've been trying to shake it off, and it's
Oh,
I'm not doing a good job.
I'll
Like
come
the
help.
you know the song "Shake It Off" by what's her name? Sailor Tift.
Yeah,
She's great. Sailor Tift.
that's
She's,
it.
Yeah.
yes, she's great.
She's very nautical themed. Very nautical.
Mhm. Very,
Yeah.
very popular high elf singer from the south.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like on our way back through the village to try to see if there's anything on this frost giant or anything in the village that's worth taking.
Okay, make an investigation check. Anyone who's looking through this village.
All right. Ew.
16.
Mm-hmm.
25.
25. Nicely done.
All that shit.
Leaf's just gonna talk to the shrine.
Okay.
And I tried to investigate, but to be honest, I rolled a natural 1. So
It's cold and you don't like it. You're from Mozum Dar, which is very warm, very humid. This is not your style. Jacques, are you searching as well?
Yes, I'm not searching. I would be going through and trying to make sure all the bodies that are spread out are perfectly laid out, essentially preparing them all for, if I can't do it this round, just like a proper funeral.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. I love that. All right. So for my 16 and my 25, you're looking around trying to find things that may be worth bringing back, maybe of value. On the frost giant, Daisy, you find some odd trinkets with some symbols on them. It looks like maybe a giant's holy symbol. You don't know what it is. Make a religion check for me.
Me too. No, just her.
Just her. She's the one that's looking over there.
15.
15. And make a history check for me.
23.
With a 23.
Or 22.
There's a brief moment where you remember just the shred of something coming to you when you were a kid and you would go to the library and you would devour books whole. You remember reading about lost gods and goddesses who've just disappeared to time. And you remember one that was more just a figure than a god, but someone who is now revered, like a King Arthur type. There was a giant that lived up north, and they lived by a very large mountain. And they were known for being one of the only giants to attempt peace between the villages around and the giants that lived on the mountain. It's well known that like giants and dwarves don't get along. They live in the same places. They go for the same things. They need the same resources. So sometimes instead of sharing, they fought for them. But this giant specifically was one that talked of peace. You never knew the name, but Snowskirt was named after them. You don't know what that would translate to in giant. And there's a symbol, a basic triangle with like a shredded bottom that looks like a mountaintop on a giant, I mean, absolutely humongous metal that's about the size of your face, but that's the giant's holy amulet. To them, it's like the size of their thumb. Yeah. With your 25, Kellen, Rufus, Ripard, looking around, you see a bunch of baskets and clothes and pots that have been shattered. You find some fishing poles, you find some long frozen fish, you find a couple pieces of gold, and you find sitting in one of the destroyed houses on like what would probably be a vanity, some earrings. Welcome back. We unfortunately lost Kelly for a short amount of time. She should be back later. But in the meantime, we left off with Rufus going and searching the remains of this village. Rufus, what you found was about 5 gold pieces and a pair of earrings. These earrings are very small. They're just small bits of gold, but they're hammered flat into small hoops. It's something that the people of this village would probably consider a luxury.
This is beautiful. I really love these earrings. You know, I would have put it up, my hole closed, my top hole. I'll keep these to sit. Well, you know, I might be able, and I jam it in. And it's, you know, and I touch it. I'm like, well, you know, I bled before. And I put it, instead of putting both, I put, well, because I already have earrings in. So I put it in my second, and then I put one up here. And I get them in. One goes in easy, one I have to push through. I just for safekeeping until someone worthy of them. You know, I feel like they, you know, I can't leave them here for no one. So I'm gonna take them in honor of these people and give them to someone who's worthy of them.
Okay. All right.
Rufus, you look like a very decadent pirate.
I that's actually my dream. So, yo ho, a know me life for me. I don't know.
All right.
Wait now.
Bye. Shall we return then to Tamzin?
Yeah.
Right.
Before we go, I'm going to ride before. As I'm sitting talking to the shrine, being like, don't know if you can hear me, but we just took down a spire. You know, I know you're not Levon anymore, as I see it, but hi, Lowen. And I'm going to cast Divination. And I'm going to say, I would love, do you have any advice for us going forward in this mission that we have faith in us?
Okay. You cast Divination, and your eyes close on their own because you're focusing on reaching out to Lawan, who is now taken over the title of Seert. And you see just darkness on the other side of your eyelids. And then as if you're moving in, you begin to see tiny pinpricks of stars all around you. And you look up. And you see a small image of a figure floating, taking points and moving them in a white robe with a white horse skull. And on this skull, you notice there's actually a wreath of flowers around the head and wrapping all up the horns. Antlers.
Wow, and I like those flowers that you got. Good addition.
Each pinprick of light, each tiny star is being moved. And then she takes her hands away and she looks down at you, and slowly she kind of floats. And these two human hands reach out from underneath the robe, and when she's now standing in front of you, she puts her hands on either side of your face. All you see when you look into the horse skull is just darkness, but you can almost smell the fragrant tropical flowers that are on her head. And she rubs a thumb across your cheek, and you feel cold. It's a warning. Without words, she communicates to you just through thought that destroying these spires is needed. Because not only will you be stopping the flow of the undead into these towns, but you'll be robbing Oral of some of her power and make this ultimate battle easier, hopefully. And she just looks.
And like, I know this is a vision, but still in my vision, I'm going to druid craft a flower and I'm going to put it on her crown. Thank you.
She nods and turns around. And you can see where she steps a ripple of light in the darkness as if she's stepping on water. And you see next to her 4 tiny little feet. Very small. About this big, walking next to her. Can you make a perception check?
Yes. $16.
They are small webbed feet. And you think maybe you know who it is.
Always. I'm glad you're with Lowen.
And the vision fades. And then it's just dark. The darkness behind your eyelids.
So I'll open my eyes back up and I'll pat the skull, and I already did it in the vision, but I'll druid craft another flower and just put it on the skull, and return to the group.
Okay. You're all together again. In a very, very cold tundra.
Let's go back. I think we've done what we needed to do. It's rather cold here, and I think we should get back to the woman. I forgot her name.
Tamsyn.
Tamsyn. Pregnancy brain, everyone. I'm sorry, it's real.
You're good.
Pregnant?
Pregnant? Daisy's pregnant? What? I had no idea.
Artificing a little artificer.
Conjuring up that.
Okay, so we...
All right. You head back, and it's about a day's journey, so you're walking through the night. Do you want to continue through the night, or do you want to stop and rest?
Like me very tired.
Is there any safe place to rest? Should we have rested at this village before we leave?
You can if you want.
I'm not in dire need of a rest if we want to just try to rest in Tamzin's town, 10 towns.
Well, I just don't want to take a level of I don't want to get exhausted or anything. So if there's
true.
a building that's enough for us to rest in, take refuge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if there's someplace safe here, perhaps that would make more sense, and then we'll journey back in the morning. It'll be helpful to us to have a little bit more warmth and a little bit more light.
Okay. Yeah, you find a building that is not too destroyed. The door has been ripped off of its hinges. And in a lot of these buildings, now that you know the weapon that the frost giant was carrying, you can tell a lot of them were destroyed by a giant axe. But you find one that's still, 4 walls and a ceiling. It's a sturdy roof and it's still together and it's relatively dry. Just a wood house.
Is there like a fireplace?
You can make one.
Because I could just create a bonfire, but I'm not gonna make one just in the middle of this house.
I mean, if you, you could create a small fire in the center if you're careful. Yeah.
I'll crack open the window so that creates a draft.
Okay. You can go outside and dig under the snow and get some stones and dirt to lay down in the center and then create the fire on top of that. So you're more careful that it's not going to spread and you'll be fine.
Mhm.
You do so. You all find a cozy place relatively near each other to lay down your mats and cozy up by the fire.
That was
And
my
as
bed.
we're like laying down, Leaf's just gonna start telling you all about the vision he had,
Ooh.
where he got to talk to Lawin as the seer, and how she had flowers on her skull, and how Sebastian was there, and how the spires take away Arl's power a little bit at a time.
Well, I love the flowers, because that skull is not very attractive, and that might add something to it.
And they smelled nice too.
I love that.
Oh, I miss the smell of the flowers in Mosendar.
Well, me too.
Gardenias and jasmine.
Oh, me too, mate.
Mm.
Maybe Limestone would have them in a pigtails when we were younger. Anyway, sorry. Patty. I think her middle name is Patricia. That's why I got confused.
That's right, yeah.
Or it's
Elizabeth Patricia Limestone. Yeah.
Or it's my other wife. Can't tell.
They all blend together.
No, they do. There could have been 2 Patties for all I know. Oh, man.
Yeah.
So we're telling ghost stories around the fire. Not really ghost
Mhm.
stories, but,
Yeah.
horsehead ghosts. Leaf, have you had any more thoughts about love?
Yeah.
All right.
I don't think it's the same kind of love, but it's the one that I know. My frog dad.
Yeah, you loved him.
Yeah. He was nice to me and he helped me when I needed it. His name, I gave him the name Robert because it sounded like ribbit. And
Is he still
and I
alive?
met Sebastian. That was his son. One of his sons. He had lots of children.
Is he still alive?
I think so.
Where does he
Dunno.
live?
He lives in the swamp near
Is that
the under a big tree near the hag hut that I went to.
Could he be where we're going?
Maybe.
I'd like to meet the man who made you.
I was already mostly grown when I met him. It was only about when I only met him like a little bit before I died, but he was good to me.
Well, he helped you be the man you are. I'd like to shake his hand.
But webbed feet.
His
Those.
webs. I'd like to shake his.
Yeah.
I bet he's going to find a real surprise knowing that's you with those magenta stash and brown.
I wonder how he'd feel about it.
Well, you're in disguise so that you don't get trouble when you go home, right?
Yeah, my original home.
Oh, right. Different.
Yeah. Well, Dad was good. Goblin Dad, not good.
Not good. I want to not shake his webs.
He doesn't even have webs.
Good. He
Well,
doesn't
he
deserve them.
webs. Exactly. Doesn't deserve those webbed feet.
No. And now you start to get tired.
Okay.
Daisy and Artemis and Calliope are all curled up in the corner, sleeping.
Jacques has followed you, and because he's a rather tall man, he's found a corner to sit in opposite the fire, and he's got his blankets all covering him, and he's fast asleep.
I have unhooked my harness
Mm-hmm.
for the first time all day, and it feels great. And so I'm just basking in front of the fire, just gonna pleasantly doze off.
Mm-hmm. It's a lovely, warm, dry moment. And the night passes. When you wake up, the snow has stopped falling, and you can see just very weak morning sunlight. A pale, pale yellow, but still. And you can make yourselves ready to leave and be on your way without a fuss.
We've had a long rest.
Yes. Mark off on your sheets. You've had a long rest.
I melt some snow and refill up all our canteens.
Nice. All right. You head back, and it takes you a little less time than before because you have the sun on your side. And you enter the town, and people are happy to see you. You notice some clerics and paladins who are very obviously dressed as such will come to shake your hand and say hello. But you can tell they're still acting kind of strange around you. And one of them even does this under his nose. So
I just do that back.
he's very confused, but he's and shakes your hand and says hello and good morning. You head back up to the fortress at the top of Dunmauger, and by this point it's later in the day. It's about 4 p.m., 5 p.m. You've made really good time. You left early as well. You head back to the fortress. At this point, if you have socks, they're just drenched. Your boots, everything below the knees, just drenched with melted snow. And you're tired, and some of you are hungry, and your joints ache, you're exhausted. But you head up to the fortress to tell Tamsyn what's happened. And you head back to the same training room, and again, she is still there. It looks like this has now become her de facto meeting space for people. And with her, she has a satchel on the floor and a little crimson velvet bag that's hanging from her belt. She smiles and she says, it is very good to see all of you. I'm very glad that you made it back. What happened?
Well, we killed a frost giant.
Yeah, it's
And-
scary.
A frost
Very
giant.
scary. Yes, a frost giant who appears to have destroyed all of Essen.
It was a
Very
dead one.
sad to report that it looks like most of these citizens did not survive. The ice spire, however, is no more.
Oh, mon Dieu. And Jacques steps forward and tells her how he had performed a funeral rite. So at least the bodies were laid to rest, and gives her a number of how many people there were. He counted 52 in total. And she nods, and she says, well, I was very much afraid of that, but Dunmauger grows a little larger today. The refugees will live here with us.
Do you happen to have a recommendation for an excellent masseuse in the area?
Oh, yes. Can give you a masseuse, but that is not the only thing I have for you. And she unhooks that little crimson bag from her belt, and she hands it over to whoever would like to take it. And she says, I come bearing gifts. All right. Inside the bag, you find what I just put in chat. You now have 2 sending stones. With sending, they're essentially stones that have little faces that look like they're talking carved into them. And one stone can act as a walkie-talkie to the other. So even if you are
Guys.
separated, you can talk to each other.
We have sending stones. And I clink them
Click, click.
together.
You hear just a faint echo of the click.
Daisy's going to go and examine the stones. I've heard of sending stones. I've never seen them in person, however. Oh, fascinating. And she's kind of
Would you like to be in charge of them?
I may have too many magical items. Are these considered magical items?
They are, but you don't have to attune to them, I don't believe.
If you'd like me to carry them, Valara, I can, but I'm happy to leave them with you. I just wanted to examine them because, you know me, I'm fascinated by all things.
Oh, about this. I will keep one and you keep the other. That way, whenever we are prepared to separate if we ever need to.
That sounds like a wonderful, wise plan. And Daisy takes one of the sending stones and starts like examining it to the best of her ability.
They're fascinating, and you can see the magical weave of runes over the top of it. They're very cool.
Laura just slips hers into her saddlebag inside a secret hidden pocket within the pocket of the saddlebag.
Nice, yeah. Inside the lining.
Yes.
And she smiles and she says, "Now I hope you do not think that I only come bearing one gift. I have many. Now these, I must tell you, are one use. Be careful when you use them." She pulls up the satchel that's next to her on the floor and she opens it up. And she pulls something out, and it looks like a ball of ice, very thin ice, but inside is a colored liquid. And she says, "These cost so much money. They are very expensive. They are very hard to come by, and they are very hard to make. They require a lot of ingredients that are not easy to get. So I hope you understand." And she holds them out to the group.
How many are there?
There are 4 total. No, 5. I got you one back. Think of it as a one-way ticket to a place.
Ooh.
Ooh, wait, a one-way ticket where?
Wherever you want.
Oh.
So it takes a bag.
The ice balls with...
It will show you how they work. Where is the next place you need to go?
Wherever the second spire is.
Yes.
If Jacques can tell me a general area, I think I know where we would have to go. He saw it, right?
He did, but Jacques has never been there before, so he can tell you what the area looked like. But he can't tell you where it is.
Perhaps we could just tell the ice ball, take us to the second spire? The next nearest ice spire?
Tamsyn nods and she says, "That will do it." And she looks at this very thin ball of ice and she jams her thumbs into it and cracks it open. And she lets the liquid spill out onto the floor. And where the liquid spills, you see a magic weave begin to form until it becomes a door on the floor, just sitting there.
Door on the floor.
And she says, "It will only last a short time. Go through."
And so we have 5 of these she's given us.
You have 5. Yes.
One. So we now have 4.
Yes. And I am hoping the last one will bring you back here. Now go.
All right.
Okay.
That's all I can give you.
Who's first?
Thank you very much.
Of course.
We'll see you soon. Hopefully.
I hope so. Go carefully.
Daisy will go in with Artemis.
All right.
In her pocket.
It's a large wooden door with a peak, but it looks like it's very rough hewn wood. And the handle is just like a plank of wood that's angled, that's been put through it. So you pull it, you like twist it up and you pull the door open. And when you do, you're looking down, but somehow you're looking at, it's a tricky angle. And it's very disorienting because you're looking at ground going this way. If that makes sense. So you're standing here looking down, but when you open the door, there's ground going this way.
Oh, okay.
Like a
Yeah.
perpendicular.
A change of gravity.
A change of gravity, yeah. And what you see on the other side is muddy ground, a dark sky, thick with trees, very, very dark, deep green pine trees, tall, dark, dark trees. And Leaf, you recognize this immediately. This is Black Bog. It's a swampy area. And Tamsyn taps her foot and she says, quickly.
Let's each take one of these balls so they're separated and should we need them. And so I take one and I put it in my bag and I say, all right. And Artemis and I go in.
It's incredibly disorienting and it makes you a little bit seasick because you step and you move to match where the ground goes flat. So all of a sudden you're standing straight, even though for all intents and purposes, it looks like you just went into the ground.
Whew.
But the horizon moves to meet you.
That was strange, wasn't it, Artemis? Come along, she yells to everyone else.
All right, I'm coming. I was like, thank you, Tamzin. See you soon. Fingers crossed. I take it, I put it in my sack, and then I step through and...
Very disorienting.
That was mind-bending.
Yeah.
I'll just reach in and grab one. Thank you, Tamsin. And then I'll take a little... Put it in a pouch. Not my front pockets. And then I'll take a little step in. And
I'll wait until Jacques... Oh, sorry.
Oh, as I'm stepping in, I'm going to say, this is where my dad lives. My frog dad.
What were you going to say, Alice?
I was going to bring up the rear, so I turned to Jacques and say, after you.
He nods and does a deep bow. And before he leaves, Tamsyn leans forward and whispers something in his ear, private. And then she takes his face in her hands and she kisses his cheek very gently. And there's a look that passes his face. You can't quite make out what it is. And he follows through the door.
Tamzin, thank you very much for this magic ice ball.
Of course.
I'm very nervous about going through this change of gravity. My hooves are slippery.
Hold your breath. I've noticed that helps me. I don't do this very often. I've done it maybe 5 times, but...
Thank you. And I hold my breath. And after putting the ice ball in the other secret pocket of my other side saddlebag, lots of pockets. I love the pockets. I try to skid with my 4 legs into the gravity down, but up.
Yeah, it's like stepping onto a platform that moves with you. Like, you know those at circuses, that wheel that you can walk in?
Yeah.
It feels kind of like that because the ground comes up to meet you. And it, like missing a step, it kind of like makes you feel weird, like you've missed something, but I hope I'm describing this right. I don't know how else to describe it. It's so weird. Okay, good. All right. So behind you, you hear Tamsyn's voice grow faint and she says, be careful. I hope to see you on the other side. And the door shrinks into nothing. And now you're in a swamp. It's very dank here.
I hope she didn't mean death when she said other side.
The other side does mean something very different for you guys, doesn't it?
Did you say this is where you lived? Where your father lives?
Yeah, my frog dad.
Oh.
I think the other spires in the witch house. I mean, hag hut. I mean, hag tower.
Say that again?
It's a little foggy.
We were just talking about him last night. This is great. Well, let's go. Should we go look for him, or do we go look for the dang spire? I say
perhaps
Dad.
he would know.
What?
Well, the good news is, last time I remember, the hag was dead. Bad news is that's the last time I saw Oral in the tower. So all we got to do is find out.
Perhaps we should find your father and he might have some information. Your frog dad. He might have some information for us before we just appear somewhere.
All right.
I'm with it.
Leaf will kind of like look around and try to get his bearings, see if he can recognize the big honking tree.
Mm-hmm. Is survival and nature about the same for you?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
exactly.
Then make a survival check. And with advantage, because this is home turf.
21.
21. You know pretty much where you are. You're skirting a fine line very close to the place you grew up, very close to the village where the tribe is. You know you're going to have to hang right immediately on this path and go as far right as you possibly can to get to the bog, because you've saved yourselves about a 5-day journey from Dunmauger down to Black Bog, and Black Bog is just below the Wildenwood, which is specifically where your family lives, but they patrol a very large part of the Wildenwood. So the further you go right, which is where you need to go, the more deeper into the bog you'll be going, and hopefully the further away you'll be getting from your family.
Yeah, so as soon as Leaf sort of like gets his bearings, figures out where he is, he's gonna, all right, we gotta go this way. And he's just gonna start walking as fast as he can to the right. Come
I
on,
follow.
come
Okay.
on.
This forest is very dense, and it's very far north. Even Valara, who traveled a lot with the circus, you would never have come here. This is like wild forest. But Leaf, something you notice, the deeper into the bog you get, the less you hear animal noises. When you came out of the dimension door, you heard crickets, you heard birds singing, you heard the crunching of leaves underneath rabbits' feet and squirrels as they ran away. But the further in you go, the quieter it gets, until it's just your sounds that you hear.
And that wasn't how it was before I died, right?
No, not at all. It's a pretty obvious path through the forest. Eventually, after about 20 minutes of trekking down this muddy path, which is very slippery, it starts to become overgrown. But Leaf, you still know where you're going, even though there's no longer a proper path. You've gone down this way before. And stepping through the underbrush and the ferns and the thick leaves, you start to hear more of a noticeable crunch underneath your feet too. And it goes from lukewarm, wet, sloppy mud to hard, frozen ground. And you don't see frost just yet, but you feel like you're probably going to see it soon if you keep going.
It was probably coming from the spire.
Is the bog swamp like a hot, warm swamp, or is it like kind of cold and marshy?
You think it should have been warmer.
Okay.
It's certainly not tropical by any means, but it definitely would have been warmer around this time of year than it is.
Okay. It looks like a very lovely place to have grown up.
It's very gloomy now.
Does it really?
I mean, I didn't really grow up here.
Thank God.
Better than my old house.
I was
You
going
know?
to say, Leaf, this isn't exactly what the picture you painted, so I feel like something's happened.
Things are different.
Yeah, it's a lot colder and darker than it was. It was fairly dark, don't get me wrong. It was a bog, but when the hag lived here, there was much more life and an overwhelming sound of frogs, which isn't here. They might all be sleeping because of the cold.
You remember on warm nights, you and some of the kids used to sneak away from the village and come into the bog because you'd be able to see fireflies dancing around. And there was usually a lot of plant life here too, lots of flowers, deep, deep colored flowers.
There's
How far are we from your frog dad, where he lives?
how far away are we from my frog dad?
You're a couple hours journey from the village.
Still got a bit of a ways before we reach the tree.
Do you think it's best for us to go there, or we don't see the ice spire or anything, do we?
No, you just see trees, like way above your head.
I say we go there, and perhaps he'll have some information for us.
If he's not frozen.
Hope he's not frozen. That would be really bad.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's even more important that we go there then and see if he needs our help.
Yeah. Yeah, on the double.
So I'd say we rush there as quickly as we can.
Well, Lara, can Rufus and I ride you again?
Valara's already squatted her butt down to make climbing up easier.
Thank you, darling. My favorite of the rides.
Got such little legs.
I will take that as a very big compliment coming from you, Rufus, as I'm sure you've had plenty of rides.
No, never.
Okay.
Cha-ching.
You hear Jacques laugh in the background, but he doesn't comment.
Laura, you just...
Why you, Jacques? Even though no one else can.
Valara, did you just make a dirty joke as well?
I did.
You're all so funny. I have to write this.
I bet you're full of dirty jokes, aren't you?
Well, I've been studying. I've been studying your humor.
Of course you've been studying dirty joke humor.
It seems to have become quite popular among our group, and I learned early on when I was quite shy that getting on common ground with those who you want to be friends with can be very helpful. And so, yes, I've been studying. Perhaps we'll try to bring one out at some point. We'll see. I'm not quite there yet.
You know, I was about to give you the task that I want to hear a dirty joke in the next couple of days. I want to hear your version of a dirty joke.
Oh, I will work on it for you, Rufus.
I believe in you. It's the magic in you.
And on the double,
over to Daisy. I was like, "Can you teach me? I didn't understand."
Yes, as soon as I've gotten it figured out, I will let you know, Leaf, and then you and I can come up with a joke together.
All right, and I'm guessing it's not actually about dirt, because nothing they've said has anything to do with dirt.
No, dirty. Dirty means of a sexual nature.
Oh. Okay.
Anyway,
Oh, God.
back to Dad, shall we?
Not dirt. Yeah.
and on that note, let's go see Dad.
On that note, let's go see Dad. Oh my God, I love it. Couldn't make this up myself. So you head deeper into the bog and it becomes just more and more swampy. Not humid, more like a peat bog in Scotland. There's this faint, you get to a pretty fun part, which Leaf, you know about, where there's enough water trapped underneath this carpet of moss that it kind of rolls underneath your feet and the whole thing ripples out. It's very fun. There's moss on everything. I mean, the trees are lousy with moss. There's a thick carpet underneath your feet that replaces the soupy mud that had been there. But every once in a while you hit a patch that's just water. And the further in you go, those patches of water become larger and larger until there's entire small ponds of murky water here and there that you pass. And eventually it becomes more rocky terrain, but it gives way to a lake. And Leaf, you know exactly where you are at this point. It's been a couple of hours, 3 or 4 hours. So it's getting dark now. And ahead of you, through the trees, you see the crooked top of a building that you've seen before. Just the roof. And through the roof, you see just a very, very faint pale blue glow.
And do I see the tree that I took refuge in?
You can look around and continue a couple more steps, and you'll come around a bend in the path that you've made. And what you see is this giant lake and a path. It's a very rickety wooden path. It looks like it's just planks thrown down in the middle of this gigantic lake. And there are huge trees that are leafless and dead, high on their roots in the middle of the lake. And across several of these planks, you see a huge dead tree on a small island right in front of a tower. Stone and wood, very crooked, very old. It looks like no one's lived there for years. But you do see that giant tree that you took refuge in before during that heavy rain.
That's the tree. I might go look before I bring everyone else in, because, I mean, he's kind of scary.
Your frog
big
dad?
frog. Big frog. He spoke in my mind, just so you know. If we can just get close over there, and I'll take a little peek in.
I trot up a little bit closer and then kneel my hindquarters
All
so
right.
Leaf can slide off.
So you basically make it to the edge of this lake, to the bank of it. And there's a bunch of reeds sticking out of the water all along it. And you maybe see some fish here and there. Leaf, you can hop off and head on in. As you do so, however, Jacques reaches out and puts a hand on Valara's shoulder. And he's looking out into the water, looking around. And he says, "Be careful. I sense many undead here." But Leaf, you know about this. The bog is notorious for being a place of dark magic. There's a reason it's called Black Bog. Not just because it's very dark here. And the water itself is almost tar-like. It's very dark.
And there are many stories about Black Bog
There are
in my
many
village.
stories. Yeah.
Don't go there.
But you went there. And now you're here. So Leaf, you are able to hop off and head across the planks if you're ready.
I think so.
All right, then I need
You
you to make
can-
a dex check for me.
Yeah. 9?
Oh, okay. It's better that it happens now.
I'm going to Flash of Genius her. Make it 14.
Okay, if that's what you want to do.
Yes, I do.
All right. You balance very carefully across these wooden planks. You almost slip at one point because they're a little icy, but you manage okay. And you head across another set and another set and another set until about 15 minutes pass, and then you're at that island where that giant tree is. Very familiar. And you go over to the massive opening in the front, and you see some of that faintly glowing lichen that's growing down into that huge opening into the ground.
Leaf's gonna take a moment and stare into the entryway, because he knows that something's not right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so he's just gonna prepare for the worst, but hope everything's okay. And he's gonna do his little. I forgot if he slid down or if he just kind of like walked.
You can do either at this point because the ground is hard and frozen.
Probably have to slide down because last time it was just mud.
Mm-hmm. It was just a mudslide.
Yeah.
All right. And with that, the rest of you see Leaf disappear. Tiny little green figure with a bright magenta mustache disappear into seemingly just the roots of this huge dead tree. And that's why we're going to take a quick break. See you soon.
See you soon.
Welcome back. We're back with a full party. And when we left off, Leaf was disappearing into the gnarled roots of a giant dead tree. Pretty far away from you guys, in the center of a lake. Leaf, you are sliding down frozen ground into this tunnel that you've been in before. It's very quiet down here. Your feet hit the bottom, and you look up and you see the same root system making the ceiling of this cramped little hole. And you see a large shape on the far side. Very, very faintly illuminated by this growing lichen, but you can't tell what it is just yet.
Is it still like frozen under the ground?
Mm-hmm. It's very cold.
Okay. I'll take out one of my torches and try to and shed some more light in here.
All right. You strike your flint. You get a spark, and you light your torch and you hold it high, and you can look around. The earth is hard and frozen down here. There's no frost, thankfully, but the lichen are all frozen over. You can tell from here. They don't have that soft, malleable look to them that they did before. And you can see the shape in the corner. a very, very massive dark green back with bumps.
Robert, it's me, Leaf. I've got a mustache, don't be alarmed.
You see the head lift. And you hear a croaking response in your head of Leaf. And he turns around and you see Robert, unfrozen. But one of his large green eyes has been glazed over with white. And he looks down at you, this truly behemoth frog. And you can't quite tell, but there might be a smile on his face. And he comes over to you and he butts his giant head against your side. And in your mind, you hear, Leaf.
I've brought some friends. Do you want to meet them?
Friends. Friends of Leaf. Yeah, wait. Are these tribe friends? Okay. Yes, friends. Let's meet.
Do you want me to bring them down here? Or do you want to come out there?
Oh, not safe here. Go up there.
Okay. And I'll put out my torch to try and climb up the icy icy tree slope.
You do so. And behind you, you hear Robert coming up the ground and right behind. And the rest of you see tiny little Leaf after about a minute pop back out, followed by a truly large form. Not as large as the giant by any means, but it is a hulking, lumping shape.
I did not expect Leaf's father to be that big. I was thinking a bullfrog, like when you said a giant frog. I was not thinking an actual giant frog.
On a normal human, he comes up to about the waist.
Okay.
He's bigger than me.
It's a big frog.
I would love to hear him rip it. Do you think it would be rude to ask?
I don't see the resemblance other than the green.
I believe it was an adoptive situation.
Leaf's just like waiting and like pointing at them.
It's my dad. Robert, behind you, you hear in your head, he says, "Get on my back. It is not safe to cross."
Oh, okay. And so I'll wait until he catches up, and then I'll jump on his back.
All right. You hop onto his back, and he's thankfully warm and very much alive.
Just patting his side.
A little slimy, but that's to be expected.
Leaf doesn't care.
Yeah, Leaf doesn't care. So you hop onto your gigantic frog dad's back, and he starts this trek of hopping. And even though he is large and he's very heavy, he lands very delicately and softly when he hops from plank to plank. And eventually he gets to all of you, and you now see a large dark green frog with bright yellow eyes, one of which is glazed over, and Leaf on his back. And you hear a deep... I can't do a frog sound. Pretend that was good.
That was good.
I glance at Jacques and I'm like, you did it. Like we got to hear the ribbit.
Mm-hmm.
Ellie, you're muted.
No,
I
you're good.
don't know if this frog speaks our language, but I have a feat. I have an ability to talk to beasts and plants, so I'm going to see if I can talk to it. Because they understand me, but I don't understand them. It's fine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I go, hello, friend. It's a pleasure to meet you.
When you cast this, it becomes a two-way street. You can hear him making these soft little croaking sounds in his neck. And you come into essentially the middle of a conversation when he's talking to Leaf, and you hear this deep, gravelly, almost Tom Waits voice in your head saying, Ah, friends. Yes, you have many friends. This is so nice, and none of them goblins. Very nice. Hello. And he looks to you, Jacques.
It's not often that I understand somebody. This
Yes.
is an interesting thing. Usually I just look at them and then I know they can hear me because they do things, but this is new.
I am not a normal frog.
No. Yes, we are friends of Leaf. We are very grateful to meet you, Father of Leaf.
You may call me Robert.
I gave him that name.
So then I turn to everybody else and I go, oh, okay, so his name is...
Robert.
He's saying Robert and Frog.
I don't think
Oh, God.
I'll repeat that one.
He turns and looks at Leaf, who's on his back. So he kind of like, and he says,
Cocks an eyeball back.
do you want your friends to understand?
Mm-hmm.
Done. And he starts doing this like convulsing motion until his tongue comes out, and on his tongue are 4 large stones. And by large, I mean they're well, no, they're not large. Disregard that. They're like jelly bean sized stones. 4 on his tongue. And he holds them out to you.
I just had a very Pan's Labyrinth moment. Is it like that? Like the frog in the tree with the... Okay.
I'm a big Guillermo del Toro fan, if you couldn't tell.
It is such a pleasure to meet you. What, may I ask, are these wonderful gifts you present?
Jacques, you can hear when he says to Leaf, tell them to eat.
Eat then.
Eat.
Oh,
I
he
didn't
said
hear
that
it.
we must eat the things that have come out of his mouth.
Eat. There you go.
Thank you so much. And
It'll help.
Valara picks it up.
Mm-hmm.
No,
It's
you
just a
go.
little like jelly bean sized stone.
Coming
Oh, okay.
from his mouth.
Yep.
It'll help you understand.
I take it. Well, it's not the first time I've eaten something coming out of someone else.
So when you take these stones, there's a like traffic of noise in your head as Daisy's writing this down and drawing it before she eats it. There's a traffic of noise in your head, and suddenly, instead of ribbits, you hear Robert, and you understand what he's saying. And you hear birds talking in the distance, saying they're going south for the prolonged winter. And you hear far off behind you crickets saying, not tonight, we're not going to sing tonight, not tonight. It's a whole mess of noise that you were unprivy to before.
Okay. I'm sorry. I just have to check my reality because it's not the first time I've heard things after ingesting something.
Yeah.
Are you hearing what I'm hearing?
You can hear me now. And his mouth isn't moving like he's speaking, but you can hear him.
Robert, let me tell you how nice it is to meet you. You have raised a lovely man over here. Not a boy, a man.
If frogs could blush, you think he would be blushing, but he looks somehow very proud.
Leaf
Holds
tips
his head up
hat.
high.
You don't have a hand, but may I like tap your web?
Like a frog, he sort of like tries to put a hand out to you, but he's clumsy. He's large.
Did I get knocked?
And you know, dogs, how they sometimes like they get a little too excited. He does that. He puts a hand out.
Oh,
Or a web paw.
Thank you. Is he bigger than me? How tall am I again?
You're about the same size.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Hi, Robert.
Yeah.
I just kind of pat his thing.
He tries to do the same, but it doesn't quite work.
Yeah.
You are all here at a dangerous time.
About that, you happen to see any icicles upside down as a spire, would you?
I have not seen. I know where it is. We do not go in the tower.
No, I expect not.
That is where the children disappear.
Robert, I died in there.
What? No. You have not died. You are here.
I came back.
You are not dead. You are here.
I'm undead. But I'm back.
He's silent for a minute, and you can definitely tell there's like a does not compute expression on his face.
It's okay. It's a long story, but I'm here now.
You live. My son. My son.
Did you notice he was gone? For sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
I knew when he did not return.
Yeah. And your other son, Sebastian.
Yes.
Sebastian is on the other side now.
Oh. I will see him again.
He's doing very well. He has friends.
Friends?
He's friends with the
fairy.
god.
Goblin friends.
No. God
Ah.
friends.
Friends. Yes. Friends
And
are
to
good.
prevent any other children from dying in the ice spire, we must destroy it. So
Yes.
unfortunately, we will need you to tell us where it is.
Oh, I know where it is.
Tower.
Tower.
Oh,
It's literally on the other side of his big tree.
Yeah, it's where I died.
There's a tower right behind him.
right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. But he looks to you, Leaf, and you can tell he's trying to tell you something without telling you something. Make a perception check.
8?
I don't know.
He's just like staring at his one big eye.
Your eye just.
Did you want?
Excuse me, Robert.
Yes.
What have you heard about this? What's going on in the tower? Have you heard any rumors or seen anything peculiar?
I do not hear rumors. I am a frog. I see walking things everywhere. Walking things. Things that should not be here.
Perhaps he means undead.
Many walking things, and the walking things come to my tree. I do not like them.
Do they look like they've been dead before?
They walk, they are not dead. Dead do not walk. The walking things are not.
Are they mean?
Yes.
Are they missing limbs? Sometimes?
Some weird shaped walking things. Wrong walking things.
Leaf's gonna like look to Daisy and nod about probably undead.
Yeah, Leaf, you can tell Robert is a giant frog, and while he very obviously has some magical properties, he's still a frog, and he has the understanding of a frog.
Yeah.
So life and death are very black and white to him.
Mm-hmm.
And these things he knows are basically wrong.
Yeah.
And they go against what he understands. And they're mean.
Mm-hmm. That's why I leave. It's like giving Daisy a look at me like,
Thank you, Robert. You've been very helpful.
Mm.
oh, look what I still have. And Leaf like reaches into his pocket and pulls out the black stone and like holds it in front of Robert's face.
He reaches out a tongue and pulls it into his mouth, and you hear it rolling around a little bit. And he goes and drops it on the ground.
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah.
It belonged to her.
Well, I tried to give it back, but she was dead. So I still have it.
Oh, yes, I know. She is dead. The children have stopped going missing because she is dead.
That's good.
Leaf. There is something in the tower. It is not unoccupied.
Is it owl-faced?
No.
Oh. Do you know what it is?
Yes. Small green. Walking alive.
Goblins?
Yes. They guard.
Oh. Oh dear.
They stab. He makes a weird motion with his elbow.
That sounds right. That sounds
But
right.
they stopped the walking things.
That's good.
Many in the lake. Many walking things in the lake. They were here. They came from the tower before the tribe came. And they stop anything else from leaving.
Okay. Should we go to the tower then?
I think that might be best if that is what needs to be done.
Could I try to understand what's going on with little Leaf? Do a little
Sure,
little
make an
understanding?
insight. Yeah.
Try to understand what's going on with this little guy. He's only a 13. I don't know if I can read him.
Leaf, what do you think that Jacques would get from a 13?
That Leaf does not want to go to that tower. But knows that we have to go to that tower.
Hmm.
And there might be something a little, like, you might sense a strong sense of reluctance. But I don't think you'd get anything, like, specific.
Leaf, we don't, I mean, if you don't wish to go to the tower, we can all go. Are you okay?
I'm just afraid my bad dad's gonna be there.
Well, what if you stayed here with one of the talking stones, speaking stones, what are they called?
Ending stones?
The sending stones. And we could, well, I suppose only you know what he looks like. I was going to say we could try to tell you who's there.
I think I'll go with you, and I'll just pretend to be a goblin from a different tribe.
Or do
I'm
you
a
want
faraway
somebody...
goblin. I come from where Jacques comes from. I'm that kind of goblin. I don't know. How do you do that?
Do you want to be visible?
Yes, do you want somebody here to disguise you further? Even though I would say your mustache is doing well, it doesn't cover up everything.
I could cast invisibility on you.
Yeah, that might be best.
I'll do that. But if you cast a spell or make an attack, it will break the invisibility, just so you know.
Okay. Well, as long as they don't attack you first. What if they don't want
If
to talk
it's
to you guys because you're not goblin? Do any of you even speak goblin?
No.
Flora, what if I'm invisible on your back and I whisper translations to you?
excellent idea.
Okay.
Okay, so if it's right behind the frog tower, right? It's not that far. Then
Yeah.
maybe I should cast. If we're going now, should I cast it on you now? It will give you 1 hour.
Yeah, maybe.
Do we sneak up on them too, just to assess the situation? Perhaps pass without trace as well? What do you think?
Leaf, you know the tower layout because you've been there before. Where the ice spire was, where you saw it last, it was way at the top.
There's really no sneaking about it. There's pretty much only one door, some windows, and one staircase. And the spire's all the way at the top. So even if we did try to sneak up, we'd have to talk to them eventually. Or fight them.
Yes,
We'll
it
talk
sounds
to them.
like it sounds like we might get into battle quite quickly if they are stabby little things.
Unless Valara convinces them otherwise, because she's good at talking to people, right?
Yes, if you tell me how to say things in Goblin, I will repeat whatever you whisper into my ear.
Okay.
This tower, what is its purpose?
Hag used to live here.
Who?
I don't know. She was dead when I got here.
Is there a pilgrimage that people can make to the place so we have an excuse to enter?
I mean, we could just tell them that we're here to destroy the spire.
It does sound like maybe we're on the same team. If they are going after the ones Robert said are wrong, then perhaps we are on the same side.
Mm-hmm.
This is fair.
All right, let's go and see what we can find out.
All right. What is the order that you're going in?
I will go first so that Leaf can translate and let me know if his dad's here and he can be looking over my shoulder.
Okay. I need everyone to roll a dex check. As you're walking across these frozen planks.
It's as I am beginning to walk, I know I'm not dexterous. May I cast a third level spell? I'm casting water walk on myself, please. Merci.
Sure. Yeah.
Because it's a bug, right? It's a
Mhm.
swamp.
It is.
So I'm gonna just make sure that I would not disturb the water. Okay.
So wait, for a dex check, I just add the plus
Your regular,
dex.
dex
okay.
modifier.
Wow.
13.
Okay. Kelly, what was that?
Ooh! Good thing you cast that water walk.
Okay. What did everyone else roll?
Do I have to roll one if I'm on Valara's back?
No, you won't.
I rolled a 13.
Mm-hmm. A 12. And Kellen?
12.
12?
Oh, and just so you know, the water walk works for 10 willing creatures, so I would have cast it on everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just so everyone
So
knows.
you're walking along being very careful. Jacques, your foot hits an icy patch and you feel it slide and it lands on top of the water. Because you have cast water walk on you and your companions, it's like, what is it called? Gack? Yeah, that Nickelodeon Gack. It's like you're stepping onto Gack, but you know quickly that falling into the water wasn't the concern. From your foot, ripples go out into the water. And standing up from the water, you see bodies. About 20 bodies that all slowly rise from in the bog water, one after the other in a wave, following the ripple. And they are all undead. Alerted by your movement, though sluggish because they are in the bog, they are turning and they are starting to come towards you.
I would have to, unfortunately, if I have an option, I would cast Channel Divinity.
Okay.
Right away.
Okay.
Destroy Undead, excuse me.
Okay. Tell me about that.
So if an undead fails its saving throw against my turn undead feature, it's instantly going to be destroyed if its CR is lower than the threshold for my level.
Yeah.
So they have to make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay.
And that would be DC 17.
Oh, yeah, no. They definitely fail. What's the area of this?
I think it's 30 feet.
30 feet. Okay.
Yeah. Each undead within 30 feet.
Yeah. Is that like a full-on radius or is it like a cone?
Yeah, it's like a from me.
It.
And
okay.
then anything underneath that CR just gets destroyed when I do turn undead, because now I'm that higher level.
Yeah. Ooh. Ooh. So, Jock, in a moment of calculated panic,
oh no, this is not good. Oh man. Oh gosh, someone throw a croissant in my mouth.
Throw a croissant in my mouth. That's how you channel your divine goddess. You raise your holy symbol high, your ring. It's very like Green Lantern of you, and you cast your channel divinity to destroy undead. And you see within a 30-foot radius, that's about 8 undead, just as if they've been caught in a nuclear blast. They just disintegrate. You still have quite a few heading towards you, but of the 20, 8 have now been just flat out destroyed.
Should we run?
Yeah, I see. We run.
Okay. You run the rest of the way. Not going to make you make dex saves for that because you all have water walk and you don't have to be careful anymore. You've alerted all of them. You run straight to that little island where the tree is. You run past the 2 remaining planks and you are on the larger island where the tower is.
I cast invisibility on Leaf.
All right. There is a wooden door in the front of the tower. Make perception checks for me.
17.
I'm using my lucky.
Okay.
15.
On a new dice.
I got 21 too. Best roll so far for a while.
Better than it was. You said perception 10.
Everyone then, because the DC was 10, everyone sees light in the windows of the second floor. Like candlelight, torchlight.
Should we go in?
You hear the sloshing of bodies as they start to come closer through the water.
Is there anyone at the door?
I mean, not right in front of it.
Is this a very big tower? Like multiple bodies could fit in here? Because I was imagining like a skinny little lighthouse.
No, this is like, it's enough for, it is similar to a lighthouse, but lighthouses are big enough for several people, depending on the lighthouse.
So we'll just say it's a big one that could fit all of us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it's big enough that the bottom floor could be a living room.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I'll trot up and knock on the door with my hoof.
All right.
Is there you said there's something on the second floor?
Yeah, you saw lights.
Is
It
there,
looked like torchlight.
is there somebody who can fly or can see what that light is? Does anybody see it? The light on the second floor?
I could wild shape.
I can fly.
I think it may not be bad to check out what's happening.
And I'm going to cast
Quickly.
light on myself. I'm never going to use it.
Okay. You cast fly. Are you just going right up to the window?
Yeah.
Okay. You go right up to the window.
You trying to sneak?
Ooh, can I sneak? I said
Didn't say you were.
I was.
I just asked you. I'll let you roll a stealth.
Oh, what a kind woman. Well, it didn't really matter for me, did it? Hold on.
Oh, no.
Das ist my life. Wait.
Yeah.
Oh, 5? That
Yeah, it definitely didn't matter. You fly right up to look into the window and you come face to face with 3 goblins. One of whom looks completely battle ravaged. He has scars all over his face, very shortly cut hair on his face and on his head, and it's done in like a mohawk that's braided back into a long braid. You're doing that like
stealthy, but I look at him, I go,
oh god. You now have 3 crossbows pointed at you.
and I immediately fly down.
Okay. Downstairs on the other side of the door, you all hear noises. Leaf, you can understand what they're saying because you understand Goblin. On the other side of the door, you hear a couple of voices, more than 2, saying, "Did someone knock? Is someone knocking at the door? They can't knock. They don't know how to knock. Did they learn how to knock? God, can you imagine if they learned how to knock?" And a sliver of the door opens, and from above, you hear shouting of alarm. And through the sliver, you see one giant goblin eye, bright blue, looking up. And it looks confused. It says something to you, Valara, in Goblin. Leaf, you can tell it says, "Yeah, what do you want?"
They said, "Yeah, what do you want?" Say... And that means there's undead.
Well, can I think?
Can you make a performance check for me? I want to see how good this game of telephone is.
Damn, I'm normally very good at performing, but that's only going to be a 13.
Leaf, having listened to her repeat this back, it's just like the weirdest sentence. "I have seen your mother to the south. Cabbage?"
Okay, Valara, you just move your mouth and I'll project.
Okay.
Make another performance check for me.
Both of us are just Valara.
Just Valara.
Shit, that's just another 13.
So they hear the goblin being spoken, but they can tell it's not coming from you, and they're very, very confused. And you see they lean back, and Leaf, you hear them saying, "I don't know what the fuck is out there." It's a horsewoman, but she's moving her mouth like a puppet. And there's someone else in the back like, "What do you mean a puppet?" And then you see another pair of eyes above that one. And in Goblin, you hear, "What do you want?"
And Leaf's just gonna shout, he's gonna whisper, "Move your mouth again." And then in Goblin, he's gonna shout, "There's undead outside."
They still look confused because there's something so off about what you're saying, and the mouth
Shall I make
movements.
another?
No.
Okay.
That 13 is gonna hold. They look at each other again and they go, "Yeah, we know. Why are you here?"
Please let us. It's an emergency.
They speak to you in Goblin, and you don't understand their response.
I'm gonna shout, "To destroy the ice spire."
The door closes. And there's a moment where you think that's it. And you hear the undead sloshing up on the shore behind you. And finally the door opens again. and there's 5 goblins down on the bottom floor ushering you inside, and a few of them perch on either side of the doorway and start firing their crossbows into the undead that are climbing up onto the shore.
Oh, thank you. Daisy just kind of like bows to them and thank you and smiles.
They're not paying attention to you at all. They're just shooting.
I am very tall. Do I fit into the door?
Barely.
Excuse me,
Yeah,
what?
you have to like crouch down.
Hold on.
One.
Thankfully, it's not a goblin
Once-
tower.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once Jacques is through the door and everyone's in, I turn around and, wanting to ensure that the goblins know that we are on their side, I also turn to face the oncoming undead and I throw a chromatic orb at them.
Okay. Roll to hit with your chromatic orb.
Okay. It's gonna be 15 to hit.
Yeah, that'll hit.
Okay.
What kind of damage are you doing?
I was gonna. Ooh, that's a good question. What kind of damage am I doing? I'm gonna go with thunder damage.
Okay.
Just to switch it up a little bit. So that'll be 4d8, and I'm only casting it at the 2nd level. Where are my d8s? There they are. Okay. Okay, so 2, 6, 8 plus 7 is 15 points of damage in the general direction of the undeads.
All right. You shoot your chromatic orb. It's only one person that it gets hit by, correct? Or is it a multiple target thing? I think it's
just one.
So you shoot your chromatic orb at the closest standing undead, and this orb of electric energy slams it to its front, and it shocks itself and then goes down into the water, and they shut the door behind you. All these goblins turn and look up at all of you, and Leaf, you hear them saying, "What are you doing here? How on earth would you be able to destroy the spire? We can't."
What are they saying? They sound like chipmunks on acid.
Leaf's gonna whisper to Valara. They want to know how we can destroy the ice spire. Move your mouth again. Meaning, we have a spear that's magic.
They all look at each other again, so confused. And Leaf, you recognize some people. These are people from your village. You saw a young goblin that you grew up with. And they look back at you, Valara, and they kind of look around like they're expecting maybe someone else. And they're like, is it really you speaking? Because your face, pardon, looks very strange when you do.
They said that your face looks strange when you speak, and we're wondering if you're the one speaking. Should we say it's magic? Move your mouth again. And that means I have a magic spell.
They kind of squint at you, and one steps forward that you recognize as essentially the captain of the guard of your village. And he's looking intently at Valara's face and then shrugs. He says, "All right, well, if you think you can destroy the spire, outsiders, then you are welcome. But how are you planning to destroy the spire? What is this magic spear that you have?"
They want to see the magic spear, and they said that we can destroy the spire. Tell
Jacques, show them the spear. They would like to see the
they want to
spear.
see it. Okay, yes. Here's the very unimpressive spear. And I
Not the pointy end first.
I'm sorry. Yes.
A couple of them step forward and they kind of place their hands on it and they look around it.
I also, when Valara said that, I looked at Daisy and went,
they are touching the tip of the spear. Was that right? Is that how it's done?
"Yeah, very good, girl."
Oh,
Now,
They all look very confused by your sudden outburst.
just the tip of the spear, right?
Daisy, that is an excellent dirty joke. I'm feeling rather tense right now, but I will give you a very good belated laugh when we are in privacy.
Leaf, you hear them saying, oh yes, there are magical properties to this.
Yes, just be...
They know it's magic.
I was just going to say they need to be gentle with the shaft of this spear.
Oh, good one, Jacques, good one.
Write it down.
Write it down.
I don't know what I expected giving you a spear.
Sorry. I feel like we should be more serious right now. No.
Maybe I should have given you like...
None of these goblins understand anything we are saying. It's fantastic.
That's fair.
That's what I thought. Might as
Well, we don't want them to think we're making fun of them or their reactions, but
They
Daisy,
do
I
look
am
very
dying on the
confused.
inside.
They look very confused.
I just go like this.
They all kind of like, what is this motion? They look concerned, and a couple of them hold up their weapons to you like,
Rufus, you're making it worse. Just be
Is he
still
turning?
and be silent, please. Silent, please.
May have taken something off the ground and popped it in his mouth earlier.
They don't understand you at all. And they say, yeah.
Oh no, go ahead.
And they say, once again, tell us, who are you? Why are you here to destroy this?
Move your mouth, Falara. Which means we're adventurers. And we have a mission.
Yes. We understand. Warriors. Fighters. Yes.
Leaf's just whispering all of this, every word.
Yeah. We will take you upstairs to our chief.
Oh.
Come with us. And two of them lead you up the stairs. And this, now that you have gotten a second to actually look around when you're not concerned about, being stabbed by a bunch of goblins who look very handy with their weapons, you notice you're in what was probably once a living room. It's coated in dust. There's a simple 2-seater couch, like a little love seat. There's a fireplace, and there's a cabinet on the far side that looks like it's full of old dried up ingredients of some kind. And there's a couple like rugs and throws. It all looks very dusty and dark. They're all leathers and things made of nature. But they lead you up the stairs, and you go through a room. It's a circular room, and there's a staircase on either side. One that goes up to that room and one that goes up to the room above it. So you go up a staircase into the second floor, and right across from you is the staircase up to the third floor. And the second floor looks pretty bare. There was a bed, and it is now broken. You go up to the third floor, and on the third floor, you see a giant, brightly pale blue ice spire. You see several forms in front of it too, and coming out of the bottom of this ice spire is a body. It looks like the spire is coming out of the body itself. And Leaf, you recognize the hag. She's shriveled and ancient, it looks like, somehow. Her face is contorted and her fingers are clenched up close to her face in claws.
Leaf's gonna whisper to Valara, "That's the dead hag, and she's been here this whole time, I guess."
And Rufus, you see the 3 goblins that you had seen earlier. And they come up to you and they brandish their weapons at you. Crossbows ready. And you hear them speaking in Goblin, and Leaf, you understand they're talking to each other saying, "This is the one we saw earlier." "What do you mean you saw him earlier? He flew up to the tower. How do we know we can trust him?" It's a lot of questioning your being there and your reasoning. It's a lot of questioning you as a party. And Leaf, you definitely recognize that very battle-worn looking goblin. He's older, and he's carrying a staff as well as his crossbow. Recognize Corgan.
Oh no. Leaf's gonna
Oh,
whisper
you're
to
so-
Valera. That's my dad. He's the chief. He's mean. His name is Corgan the Cruel. He's not.
Oh, you were not kidding.
No.
We hear Leaf talking to her.
Make a perception check.
All of my dice.
17.
Daisy, you would have heard Leaf saying that's his dad. What did you get? 8? Yeah, you don't hear it.
Okay.
I attempt, as I see there's intensity and they have like their weapons brandish kind of at us. Attempt to do some soothing like motions to try to get them to like relax and try to like understand what's going on. And there is a reason for this, because if it doesn't work, I'm going to do something. But I'm like, trying.
Okay.
Try to join him.
Yes, yes. Do it. Yes,
They
go
all
ahead.
look so confused
Oh my god.
and a little concerned. And Leaf, you hear your dad say, "What the fuck is this?"
As I'm realizing it's not working, I'm gonna cast a 5th level spell. Now that I'm 9th level and I have this,
Oh god, I didn't have character sheets prepared. Okay. What are you gonna cast?
I'm gonna cast Rarity's telepathic bond.
Oh, okay.
So it is going to make all of us, and then 3, I can choose up to 8 creatures, and then 3 other creatures, linking us together psychically
Uh-huh.
to talk to one another. As long as the creatures that I'm casting on have intelligence scores over 2. So who
They
knows?
do?
Great. But now we can all communicate telepathically through a bond, whether or not we have common language.
Okay. Okay.
So it lasts for 1 hour, and I'm gonna choose the most intense looking ones, who seem to have their weapons out.
It would have been the 3 that were already up there.
Is
Okay,
Leaf
great.
chosen? Because do they know about Leaf?
No,
Would-
they don't know.
But
No, they
he's-
don't. Yeah.
Okay.
So you didn't choose Leaf.
No, I would choose. I can choose up to the like I
Mhm.
know Leaf's there, so I would choose the Leaf.
Yeah.
To hear in on it too, or be able to speak
Oh, well,
up.
they hear him and then it gets us in trouble.
Yeah, if he speaks.
But it's in his head.
Yeah, but you can also choose what conversation is going through. It's not just like a constant stream of thought.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, that would be
Telepathic bond.
awful.
Can you
Just
imagine
someone
just
suddenly
random
being
all
like,
these
"Oh,
thoughts?
I want to go back home and watch porn," and then they start thinking about what kind of porn they want to watch.
Yeah.
No, it's not that. No, it's not like that. It's a means of communication,
Okay.
Yes.
willing communication. I don't think there are many things in D&D that are against your will, except like Zone of Truth. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
it's just
no
a bond across any distance for 1 hour.
Yeah.
Between the 8 of us. So I like kind of do this dance while the 3 of us are all doing it. I cast the spell, and I'm like, like dust comes out, and I hope like all of our mouths are something cool happens. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, you each see this like very faint Kelly, pick a color.
Ooh, the yellow.
You see a very faint like sunshine yellow mist coming out of your mouths when you move them. But anytime you think something or you're going to say something, you hear it. And as soon as this happens, they all look to each other. They look so alarmed because suddenly they can hear thoughts in their head that are not theirs. They hear someone speaking. Who speaks first?
Fear not, for I come to bring you tidings of great news and great joy.
They look around like trying to find the source of it, and they're growing more and more alarmed because all of a sudden they hear a voice in their head that is not theirs. You hear a chorus. You all hear a chorus of voices back going, "Who are you? What do you want? Where are you? Show yourself! Show yourself!"
We are here. I'm raising my hand. You see me? I cast it because it's clear that we all don't speak the same language. So I thought this would be a way to communicate with one another. No problems, please.
The chief steps forward and he has just a very resting bitch face. But it's like resting that colonel in military movies that you're like, oh, he's a son of a, you know, that face.
Resting goblin grimace.
Yeah, resting goblin grimace. He steps forward and he says, warn someone before you do that.
I wish I could, but our languages are so, there's a barrier. Apologies.
And someone else pipes up and says, they were speaking goblin earlier. Or someone was.
It was a rough, if you couldn't tell, they only went through 1 year of goblin school. And
my spell was very weak.
It's very bad.
Can you make a deception check for me?
I'm pretty good at it. Please be a nice roll.
In the meantime,
okay, 17.
Okay, yeah, they look like, how does that happen? Because her mouth looks so weird. But they acquiesce. And they nod, they say, all right. And the chieftain is looking up at all of you and he says, so you think you can destroy the spire?
yes.
All right, adventurers. As long as you don't make it worse. I'd like to see you try.
No, we will do our very best not to make it worse. Sometimes, we are not experts. We have only downed one spire, so we just ask you to give us a little bit of learning curve patience. If it happens to make things worse the first time, we will do our very, very best. And I try to persuade him to give us a little extra grace.
Make an insight check. Make an insight check.
13. Me and the 13s.
And with the insight check, you can tell that the more you talk about it, the more he's losing faith that this is something you can do.
Okay.
This is a man of action.
Jacques, why don't you do your ceremony and stab?
Yes, that seems like a good option. I also, after sleeping, I prepared, just kidding, because that's 5th level. So yep, it's gonna be that.
All right, Jacques, you begin to prepare your spell again, your ritual. You place the necessary herbs around this spire, and it's very odd because you have to step over the desiccated body of what was once a hag. She's shriveled and ugly, and you can see the flesh that was around her lips is like curled back, and you see these jagged teeth. The awful thing about hags, it looks like not all of those teeth are hers. Some of them are different sizes. Yep. So you go about, hags are nasty, y'all. Especially this kind, and there are different kinds. So you put down your herbs around it. You dip a little bit of a pine bog into that holy liquid that you had gotten, and you do your necessary preparations. And once again, you close your eyes and you try to funnel your goddess. You try to feel Blanca, and you try to set these souls free. You feel the same thing as last time. You feel souls pressing against a door, hoping to be freed. And you put them at rest. It's like a sigh of relief. They just disappear. And the spire is once again empty, a giant glass-like ice structure. You ready to stab?
So this time I say, listen, I know that I've been stabbing, but somebody else has been stabbing with their jokes. So I think somebody else should do the honors with me this time. Daisy.
I will put my hand on your shaft.
Okay, let's not. Okay. Let's save the jokes for after, Daisy. Okay.
Sorry, that must have been inappropriate. I just met you all, but it's a thing we're doing. It's if you have any dirty.
They're all like stone-faced watching you.
Did Jacques lose the speak if he did the
No.
ritual?
Ritual and spells are different.
Cool. Yeah.
So yes, feel free to chime in with your own dirty jokes. Not like dirt, like
Do goblins have those parts? I don't. Anyway, let's just go.
Okay.
Hold on, 3,
Okay.
2.
You can practically feel the anger and hatred radiating off of this chief as you say that. And he stabs, or you rather, stab the tip of this spear into the ice. And once again, it starts to make a sizzling, popping, high-pitched sound as it's pushed deeper and deeper into the ice. These beautiful pale pastel sparks coming off the edge, and the tip of it begins to glow a bright light again. And then the entire structure shatters like a broken mirror and falls at your feet. And you all shield yourselves from any falling pieces of ice. And when you look back up, the spire is gone. None of the goblins look amused or in the least bit interested. One of them, who is not the chieftain, nods to you, thinks in his head, "Thank you for your service." And they begin down the stairs.
Wait.
Only one of them stops. The chieftain keeps going.
I want you to tell that man that his son
He stops.
sent us here, and he is a good lad, and he should know that we're here because of Leaf, though he's not here with us. But he sent us, and you're welcome.
The chieftain steps back up. He turns around and he comes back up the stairs, and he levels you with his gaze. And he says, "Whelp, do not talk of things you don't understand. You do not know my son. I would thank you to hold your tongue for once in your life. I am a stranger. Do not speak to me as if you know me." And he leaves.
Too bad he doesn't know my job is to not hold my tongue.
Oh, that's a good one.
At least I said what I needed to say.
A minute passes and you hear fighting downstairs, and you look out the windowsill and you see the goblins are fighting the remains of the undead that are on the shore, and a couple of them had been pressed up against the door. They kick the door open and they start shooting to take the rest of them out. Leaf, looking out the window, you see your chosen father, Robert, is sitting by the entrance to his tree. And the goblins pass him, stony-faced, looking in no other direction. Robert watches him and follows him with his gaze, and then looks up to the tower and he sees you. And he sits there and he waits. But so far, the goblins have left.
Oh my, I thought they were never gonna leave.
They're a nasty bunch. No wonder you left.
Yeah.
I don't think they understood the humor.
No. They
The
only
humor
understand
It's
fighting.
very specific. Yeah.
I have to say though, Daisy, you are scoring all aces as far as I'm concerned, and I'm so sorry I could not give you better laughs in there, but it was clear they were completely rattled and not comprehending our humor. But I just wanted you to know, not only for effort, but execution, you did fabulously.
I've always been a good pupil, I must say.
I am not surprised.
Like, don't get me wrong. There were some fun goblins in my village, but they won't be here. You know, I think there were some of them that would have really enjoyed your jokes, but not that group.
Leaf, Rufus brought up a very interesting question. Pardon, but do goblins have certain parts? Shafts and such.
I don't think I wrote
Wait,
that up.
who asked it? Who asked like
know,
goblins
yeah.
even have that?
It was Rufus. Yes. It was Rufus.
Not Jacques.
Listen, I can't even
How do
remember,
you
you know, the haze is from the haze.
I
If
mean, you all
goblins-
very much know goblins are humanoid. They definitely have genitalia.
Oh, they are humanoid. Okay.
Yeah.
How do
yeah.
you think baby goblins are made?
They don't lay eggs. They're not reptilian.
We
Yeah.
don't just like appear from the mud. You know,
Although wouldn't cool.
we don't
I
grow
mean,
out of the
many
ground.
many creatures come out many different ways. So it's okay to assume. I haven't seen many goblins in my day. honest.
D&D, where we discuss whether or not goblins have genitalia.
They do.
I love it.
For the purpose of humor and jokes.
I mean, that's not their purpose. But they certainly exist.
So many more
No. You have to
questions,
remember
but we'll
their
leave it there.
purpose is to fight. Their
Okay,
purpose is to fight, according to
well
the
done,
thing.
everyone. We've destroyed 2 spires. Leaf, are you okay? I know that must have been hard for you.
It was more scary than anything. I thought, like, at any moment they were gonna recognize my goblin, or I don't know. If we'd been there for too long, what if my invisibility ran out and they saw a goblin with a pink mustache and somehow Corgan knew that my dad knew.
Well, I'm sorry, but I had to speak from one father to another. He doesn't deserve you.
Thanks, Ruby.
We're proud of our man, aren't we, folk?
Yes, we are quite proud of our Leaf.
And I couldn't let him not hear something. Even if he didn't hear me, he will think about it later. Maybe.
Maybe.
It is important to remember that this is a family that you have, but it's the one that you choose.
Mm-hmm.
It's important.
And he's gonna like peek out the window again and look down at Robert.
You see Robert just waiting for you to exit the tower.
You go check on Robert then.
Yeah, he's just waiting for us outside. I'm glad I
All
didn't
right.
have to try and do a Jacques accent. That would have been embarrassing.
I can train you if you like. It just depends on how you use your tongue. Hey, Rufus, I got you.
Hey, you got
Oh my god.
Get
I got
that
you.
lit.
Can somebody
easy.
keep a running tally for me?
Right now, she's taking beers.
Chat.
So,
Keep this tally.
Mm-hmm.
What is it about the tongue?
yeah, well,
Oh, let me tell you.
Oh,
telepathically,
Daisy.
It's all in the way you roll it. Anyways, you head back down to I can do it too. You head back down to the bottom of the tower. And Leaf, you head over to Robert, who smiles at you, you think, with his giant frog face. And he motions under the tree and he says, "Would you like to come down?" Ah.
Yeah, do we want to go take a little rest in the tree? Will they fit?
Jacques, you can tell this giant frog is kind of appraising you, and he says, "Yes."
Actually, you all don't know that I can do this. It's a thing with my my people. I can drink a bit. So 1 second, one moment. Let me show you. And then I turn around, and then I'm gonna cast disguise self.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm gonna turn back around, and I want to be like I think I want to look like a frog person, like try to kind of look like Robert and be cool like Robert.
Okay. Okay. You end up looking more like a because there aren't necessarily any frog people. You look like a turtle without a shell.
Oh dear.
Very, very lumpy and green. Your eyes have turned bright yellow, just like Robert's, but you're still tall-ish, and you have long limbs. But he looks at you and Leaf in your head. In fact, all of you hear in your head, acceptable. Come with me. And you have shrunken enough. You can all, even Valara, although it's a bit of a Winnie the Pooh situation. Someone has to be behind you and like shove you down into this tiny
Comes in my
cavern.
big ass.
Mm-hmm. You big horse butt.
And also, I just read the spell, and I don't think Jack is very creative and knows this. Neither am I. That disguise self is not actually like you don't. So his head would still like knock against things because I'm still as tall as I actually am.
You are.
Yeah. Size differently.
You just look like a weird giant frog person, or like a person in a suit, in a frog suit. A little discerning, but you all manage, even though it is cramped, you manage to crawl down. And when you get underneath, it's this cavern that opens up, and most of your heads bump into it, but it's this system of roots from the tree above you. And it's lit very faintly by this glowing blue lichen. And Robert sits down in the center and he says, "Welcome to my home. You are all welcome here, children." And as he says that, you all hear this chorus of very gentle ribbits and croaks and song, as from between the roots, all of these tiny little frogs the size of Sebastian come out. And in this pale light,
I was gonna say, Leaf, are these your siblings?
Yeah, and the Sebastian siblings.
Oh.
Robert says, "Let me tell you of the day that I first met Leaf." And this is where we're going to end the episode.
Oh,
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Girls Guts Glory Risen. Let's go around and say our names. Say hello.
I'm Kim Doherty. Thank you to Wizards of the Coast for sponsoring us.
Thank you.
And you can find me at Kim Doherty _. I don't know if I said that last episode, but there's an underscore.
You might be able to see it in the text. My name is Erica Fermina. You can find me everywhere at AStylePixie.
I'm Alice Gretchen, and you can find me at Alice Gretchen.
Hi guys, I'm Kelly Lynn D'Angelo, and you can find me at Kelly Lynn Dang.
I'm Kellen Coleman, and you can find me at Kellen Coleman.
I'm Rachel Seeley. Thank you once again to James RPG for my other animated background. I have so many to show you. Thank you to Wizards of the Coast. And thank you for joining us. Remember, your chosen family loves you. Goodbye.
Bye.